Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And hello, I'm Joan. And hi, Chanel. It's so good to see you. Belated happy birthday. I hope you had a good birthday. Oh, look at who else is here. Paul Hollis. Hi,
hey, Paul.
How are you feeling? I hope you're feeling good. Okay.
So, what do we got cooking?
Well, we have two great authors today. We're really excited for everybody to meet them.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we start.
Okay.
Did you know we have a new store?
I may have heard about it.
You heard about it. Okay. Here's one of our newest designs. Support indie authors.
It's a good
Everyone
idea.
should get yourself a t-shirt or a coffee mug or a phone case or, anything to help support indie authors.
Yep. Exactly. So Chanel had a fun birthday. I'm really glad to hear that. But we're glad that you're here.
Yeah.
And Paul says, all's good. The devil doesn't want me yet. Yeah. Well, from reading your books and knowing what your life was like,
he's come pretty close, hasn't
he's spit you out quite a few times.
Well, without much ado, we don't want to cut into our guests' time. No. Let's introduce author KAYLIN McFARREN. Join us.
Hi, KAYLIN.
Hi,
KAYLIN.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad to have you. Okay, so Jack. Oh my gosh, Jack Craigus. He's from Australia.
Hey.
Wow, an Aussie.
The one that we just showed.
The one that we showed. Thanks, Jack.
You need one for all of your friends, too. Well, good morning, Jack.
Good morning. Right. Don't ask me. I can't. Hi, do, Paul says.
Hi, Jack. It's so good to hear from you.
And Paul says hello, too. Do you know Paul Hollis? He's a fellow author.
No, I don't, but it's nice to meet one.
Yeah, he's a big help to a lot of authors that are just up and coming. So, KAYLIN, let's get right into it. How did you get started writing? What made you decide to be an author?
Okay, many years ago, I used to write poetry, and I did it for all through my high school and college years. But when my father passed away, I decided I needed to write a book that was lethargic, that it would heal me. And I wrote Flaherty's Crossing. And after writing it, it was a total learning lesson. And after writing it, I decided that I wanted to get into this business. So I won many, many awards for the book and decided that this was my forte. And so I continue to delve into it. And I love thrillers. So that's become my new genre. Well,
Trish Pipkins says hello. Hello, Trish. But Chanel has a question for you, KAYLIN.
Sure.
Is that you were asking the right person, Chanel, because you were a director of an art gallery for.
Yes, I was. For 10 years, I was director of an art gallery. And so the piece over my fireplace is actually original painting that came from Rome. I went to Rome with my family, and I actually got to watch an artist finish painting this.
Okay, she asked, is a Mary Cossat? Do you know her?
Yes.
Okay, she's asking if it was that.
Yes, it is.
It is. Chanel, good eye.
You are very good.
Yes, she's got a good eye. She says that piece is gorgeous.
Has the artist found you yet?
Well, it's actually a knockoff from an artist that is no longer with us.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah.
It's
so
very beautiful painting.
Marjorie,
I love it.
Hi,
A bit
Marjorie.
late, but here now. Hi all. Hello, Marjorie. We're glad to have you here.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
Chanel says that Mary, am I pronouncing that correct? Her last name, Cosat? No?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. She said Mary Cosat is one of her favorites. I've been known to brutalize names, so.
Yeah, she has trouble. She's called me Rib all the time instead of Rob. No.
Oh, so funny. Well, let me bring up some of your books here, Kaylin. So, Seven Threads is was that the first in this series?
This was the first in my Thread series, and it's deep sea diving, which I had a tremendous fear of doing, but I ventured into trying it out. And it's about buried treasure, and I think, it's really a fun adventure.
Yeah. So, how deep did you dive?
I actually went to Costa Rica, and I dove down deep enough to go into where they had a sunken ship, but it was a little scary, and because it was very cloudy. And so visibility was not really good. So it helped me, inspired me to write this book because it's a little ghosty.
Yes, the deepest I ever dove was 140 feet. And
wow.
When that deep, it's dark.
Yes, it is.
It's wet, always wet. Yeah. And you can't really stay down there that long once you get down there, because then you have to make your way back up.
It's a little spooky.
Yeah, it's a lot spooky, actually. But I did it once. Usually I stayed like at 30 feet. That's where all the pretty fish are anyway.
Yes, true.
And here's Buried Threads. This is the next book in that series, isn't it?
Yeah, this was really fun to write because I based it on my experience traveling to Japan. So actually, when I was on the bullet train, I was writing the whole time. So
bullet train.
Yeah. So
did
all
it make
this
the writing faster.
Yeah, a little faster. But it's based on geishas and yakuza and gangsters also looking for buried treasure. So it's like a team that travels in these books that are looking for lost items.
Robert White, also from Australia. We've got two Aussies watching us.
Oh, wonderful.
Robert. As long as she doesn't call you spare rib, Rob. I like spare rib, Robert.
That is good.
And then he says, hi, John. Her name is Kaylin. He says, hello, guest. Her name is Kaylin.
Yes. I've been to Australia once, and I loved it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I've never been.
Oh, my God. It was so much fun. We actually got to see roos and hold a koala bear. So that was really a unique experience.
Well, both Robert and Jack are Aussies, and they're both from Queensland, right?
Oh,
yeah,
so down on the coast.
Yes, Robert's in Rockhampton, and Jack is in Brisbane.
Oh, beautiful country.
Yes. And I can't believe that I remembered that. So that was amazing right there.
Yeah, I see the Japanese sword in the picture.
I know, I do too. And
I didn't pick up on that.
I didn't pick up on that either at first.
Yes.
When I see feathers, I think, indigenous people of the Americas, but I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spiritual.
Very.
Carrying on the thread here.
Then we have Banished Threads.
Okay, this is my crew goes to England, and they are sucked into a mystery where there's stolen art. So they have to recover the stolen art and clear their relatives from being thrown into jail.
That's really good. And there you're going into one of your areas of expertise.
Yes, because I owned an art gallery, so I used some of my information that I knew about. So
there you
was,
go.
Yeah.
And
So
to be clear, that's not the painting that they were looking for, right?
No, that's her daughter.
My daughter designs, my youngest daughter designs all my covers. And so she's amazing, talented.
Very
talented.
Mm-hmm.
Really, they're all beautiful.
Makes you want to read the book.
This one is my favorite. Yeah.
To see
they're all beautiful, but I love this girl's face. The face tells.
Oh, thank you.
Tells a lot, right?
Yes, it does.
Have twisted threads.
Yeah, this brings back one of my characters from the Berry Thread series, and it's actually a geisha that is turned into an assassin, and she's on board a cruise ship, and nobody's going to escape her wrath.
That's great. I like strong women.
Yeah, you'll like this one. It's very twisted.
Twisted too.
Let's take a minute here while we are partway through, and we're going to do your book giveaway, and then we can finish talking about your other books.
We have more books to talk about, people.
Right.
So
the
don't
book giveaway
is
that the first 5 people to email that email will win an ebook copy of choice. I didn't catch it quick enough there. All right. LYOSHIDA21@gmail.com.
Yes.
We'll win that ebook copy of choice of one of her books. So it's open globally.
Yes, because it's, Marjorie says you have a very talented daughter.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
That's very, very true. She does. So since I didn't do this ahead of time and poor Rob, brutalized your email. Let me.
Yes, it's okay.
I missed it the first time around.
Okay. Let's give every place that people can reach you. Your website is KAYLINMcFARREN.com.
Yes.
KAYLINMCFARREN.com.
Good Irish name.
It is a good Irish name. Facebook is author KAYLIN McFARREN. That's easy, guys. You can remember that. Twitter is @4KAYLIN. I'm talking about the number 4, KAYLIN. Instagram again is the number 4, KAYLIN McFARREN. Her blog, which I really suggest that you read,
thank you.
Is KAYLINMcFARREN.blog. So you can catch up with her on there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then her email is LYOSHIDA21@gmail.com.
Okay, now people are probably wondering why I have 2 names. So my
2 names.
Yeah, my pen name is KAYLIN, which was my grandmother's name.
Aww.
So I honored her because she wanted to be a writer. She wrote 2 books and never got them published. So I write under her name.
That's nice.
And McFarren is a good Irish name, but also Yoshida is a good name because my husband makes Yoshida sauces that a lot of people probably bought in their grocery stors, and it's all over the world. And so
in every Costco.
Every Costco.
If you've ever been in a Costco, you've seen his sauces. This is his food.
So this is a little plug for my hubby.
As if he needs it, right? I mean, it's really good sauce. Wait a minute, I missed that comment. Oh, Chanel emailed you already.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
It's the
I'll
book
look
of
forward.
stories. Yeah. Let me bring up your other two books here.
Yes.
Get back into brands. Okay, so this one, this one's right up my alley. This one is High Flying.
Yeah.
You might want to tell them what that is.
Okay, this is a story about a young girl that's going through some personal issues, and she decides that she wants to be a stunt pilot. And in the process, she runs into a storm in the middle of a show, and she's transported back in time.
Cool.
And so she has an opportunity to meet her father that she's never met.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun.
Good twist.
It's a lot of
really
drug gangsters and all kinds of fun stuff in there.
Now that sounds like our books.
Yeah.
Drug gangs, mobsters. Really, that's what we write about. Here we go. Soul Seeker.
Okay, this is my new series. It's the Gehenna series, and it's I just finished writing the second book in the series. This one starts out where a guy who is a fireman is tricked into killing his son.
Oh, Lord.
Ooh.
And by a demon that comes to visit him. And it is a very weird, twisted story, but it leads to the next series, which is the next book is called Annihilation, which is the new one. And it takes you on this journey through hell that you'll never forget. I guarantee it.
I see the cover is at the gates of hell.
No, that one is not out yet. Is that right?
What's that?
That one's not available yet.
Oh, this was coming out in January 7th. On January 7th.
So that's something to look forward to.
So the pre-order will probably be a couple of weeks before that, I would imagine.
Yes. So the pre-order will probably be in about a month.
Yeah. Sometime in December. Yeah.
You have all of our information, so keep it.
Yes.
If you want to read Annihilation, maybe you should try and win a copy of Soul Seeker.
Absolutely.
So says that's a great cover. It is. The Gates of Hell.
Thank you.
That is a good.
Thank you. If you ever want to go to Pinterest, it's where I plot all my stories. Oh. So the next two books in the series are up and coming, and one is called Requiem for a Queen, and the other one is Ultimatum. And so these are already plotted out for the next books that are coming soon.
Yeah.
So they'll be in
Pinterest.
No.
I don't think we have your Pinterest up here. So how do you find you on Pinterest? So
if you just go to Pinterest.com and /4 KAYLIN. KAYLIN.
For KAYLIN. Like a lot of the other things are for KAYLIN.
Yeah. And you'll see all kinds of fun stuff that I do in my spare time.
When you're not writing books. And
when I'm not writing books.
And deep sea diving.
Yes, exactly.
Since I've done that, by the way. And I do many years. But yeah, those all look so interesting. Let me ask you a question. What is your favorite book? Out of all the ones that you've written so far, what's your favorite?
Oh, I think it was Buried Threads, because I loved delving into the Japanese culture. And I so enjoyed everything that I learned through my relationship with my husband and traveling. It's just so much fun to learn about Yakuza and geishas, because my husband's uncle was a member of Yakuza.
Really?
And I actually got to spend a lot of time with a number of geishas in the geisha quarters. So I've learned so much. I even became best friends with a mama-san. So it's been a journey to learn about Japanese culture. And I encourage anyone to read this book and learn about the culture at the same time.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what Yakuza is?
Yakuza is like a Japanese mafia.
Yep.
And so it's really scary business.
Yes.
You insult somebody in the organization, you cut off a finger, or you sacrifice your son, or there's a lot of really bad stuff that goes on.
Serious.
Yeah. Yakuza to me is scarier than the mafia. Maybe the Russian mob is out there too.
Yeah, it's really scary. And the funny thing is that it still goes on.
Oh, yeah.
The police department actually depends on the gangsters in the Yakuza to take care of underworld problems and
amazing.
They look the other way when something happens to a criminal.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So Chanel says she had a great uncle who married a geisha he met in World War II.
Oh, that is so cool.
Isn't it cool? It's very
I
nice.
imagine she has a wonderful story to tell.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great honor to be a geisha.
It is tremendous.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if many people have watched Memoirs of a Geisha.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful book, and it's also a wonderful movie to watch.
Yeah.
So it's very educational too.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you say your favorite place was in Japan, or is in Japan?
Oh, definitely Kyoto. It's like 1,500 temples and shrines, and they have the most beautiful gardens. And I just love the people there. The culture is so remarkable. And people are just so kind and gracious and giving. I would go back in a heartbeat. It's one of my favorite places to go.
Wow. Cool.
We watched a documentary after the last what do you call it? Tsunami.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
a monk and his wife had opened up a cafe where people could come and talk about their experiences. They wanted it to be a happy place because so many people have lost so much and lost so many family members. I just fell in love with them. This monk and his wife, they were amazing, amazing people.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Chanel says, isn't Kyoto a time capsule city?
It is kind of. It's like it's trapped in a time warp, I would say. When you go there, you feel like you're stepping back into centuries. And the people still maintain their culture and their traditions like they have for hundreds of years. I can't encourage anybody strongly enough. When the coronavirus lets up a little bit and we're able to travel again, I can't strongly encourage you enough to go to visit Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to go.
Yeah.
We've never been to Asia. So.
Oh, you would love it.
Oh, I know I would love it.
Down in Australia, we've got quite a list.
Yeah.
I would love the food.
Oh my gosh, yes. The sushi is amazing.
I'm a sushi girl. I love me some sushi.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm lucky because I married a wonderful guy who loves to cook, so he's always in the kitchen.
Yeah, he makes great sauce.
Yeah. So I'm a little spoiled, just a little bit.
I told you I love his sauces. I know who he is. I was like, I know that. That's why I know it's sold in Costco.
Yes.
That's where I buy everything that I use a lot of, you know.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. You supported my kids, put them through college.
Yeah, there you go.
So you know.
It was our pleasure, believe me. Chanel says she was supposed to go to China last month for 3 weeks, but darn COVID, I'm going to paraphrase that for you there.
Maybe Mrs. COVID.
Yeah. Ruined that. I was going to see all the beautiful mines and had handpicked my rocks. Oh, for your shop. She has. Oh,
yeah, that's right.
Oh, she has a rock shop?
Yes. She knows. If you want to know anything about rocks, you can ask her, about
wonderful
stones and crystals. She knows. And you know who else does? Robert, who's on here also. He knows a lot. Now you have to wait another year. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're talking about opening up. We have a little connection with the airlines, so I try to get inside information whenever I can. My husband goes over there and he's an inspirational speaker. So he goes around motivating young entrepreneurs. And he has been told that possibly April that they're going to open up again. So I hate to think it's that long.
Yeah. All the borders you heard maybe?
Yeah. Right now, all in Japan, it's all open to the public that's living there. But we're hoping that by April, they'll be back up and running again.
I've heard Japan has had a really rough time getting the vaccine, all kinds of things.
So has he written books?
He actually writes business books. So he has a new one that it sold over 2 million copies.
Oh my goodness!
In Japan, so people. He's kind of an icon in Japan. He's been on the cover of Time magazine and in Japan.
Wow.
And he's on television all the time over there. And so he's really missing it. He's missing his crowds and his audiences. But but he's hoping to be able to get back into it in April. So we'll keep our fingers crossed.
There you go.
Robert says everything happens for a reason, Chanel. So maybe it would be better next visit. And that's very true.
True.
My rocks are out in the ship stuck in the bay by California.
So
this Black Friday. Yeah.
Oh, I know. We went down to Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't believe how many ships are in the harbor. It's mind-boggling. There's just looking out there.
The water. We told you our oldest daughter lives in Mission Viejo, so she's right
by
the harbor. So it's like never before.
We've never seen anything like it. It's like it looks like it looks like a city out there with all these ships out there.
Real. It doesn't
look real.
That's what caused the oil spill, was one of those big anchors running over the pipeline.
Exactly.
Those ships don't have little tiny anchors. They have ginormous ones. So, yeah.
Exactly. So it's going to definitely affect your Christmas shopping.
I'm afraid that is the truth.
Yeah. So buy books. Buy books.
There you go.
And when you buy a book, leave a review.
There you go.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's time to take our break. This has gone by very quickly.
We have 2 more comments and we'll get to you as soon as we come back.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. We got to show these because it's so funny. Robert Weiss was ship traffic chairman. Chanel said, and this is the truth, spilled battleship game on the bay. And that is what it looks. That's what
it looks like.
I was going to say it looks like a Lego game gone circus, but yeah. Okay, we need to do a commercial.
Now a word from our sponsor. When we come back, author Birdy Rivers is going to be joining us.
Yes.
And
awesome.
Got a couple of wonderful books to talk about.
Yes.
So don't want to go away. She's also doing a book giveaway. So sit tight, everybody.
Hey, look at us. We've got a new store.
Yeah, we do. It's pretty exciting.
What can you find there?
We have a number of designs available on t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, laptop and phone cases, pillows, and new designs are coming in all the time.
Sounds like a great place to shop for authors and readers.
Yeah, and it's easy to find. It's simple. Just visit indiebooksource.com, click on the store tab, and you're there.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book one of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
At Indie Booksource, you can shop by genre or by author, and you will be buying direct from the author's main purchase link. We offer hundreds of titles in formats that include ebooks, paperback, hardbound, and audiobook. Support an indie author. Visit indiebooksource.com today. WLFE Digital Broadcast Network presents Variety Unlimited Television. Watch shows like Meet the Author Podcast, The Bipolar DM, Just Cindy, Card Pulls and Coffee, Unfiltered Talk with Bryce, and more. That's right, our shows are your shows on WLFE Digital Broadcast Network. And now, back to the show. Hi, Birdy.
Hi, Birdy.
Hello,
How are
guys.
you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We're doing really well. Have you been enjoying the show so far?
I have been.
Oh, wonderful.
Before we get to your two books, let me go ahead and tell people how they can reach you.
There you go.
Fair enough.
You're going to have to, those of you who are just listening and not viewing, you're going to have to listen to me. Well, actually, I think you can find her anyway without all these numbers.
You can. You just type in author Birdy Rivers in Facebook search and you'll find me.
Exactly.
There's not a lot of them.
Good.
No, there's
I'm the
no
only
Birdy.
one that I know of.
So it's Birdy-Rivers- and a whole bunch of numbers. And that is BIRDY-344-789-3457858657. Or you can find her on Instagram at Britty2115. So that's BRITTY.
Mm-hmm.
And on TikTok, she's on TikTok at authorbirdyrivers.com. And her email is birdyrivers15@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you can find her. I encourage you to look her up. And we've got a comment. Robert says, hello, Birdie.
Hi, Robert.
That's hello to you from down under.
Oh,
I'm not going to try and do an Aussie accent. Robert, by the way, says to Chanel, you sunk my carrier ship.
Wow.
So let me bring up your books here right away. Here we go. This, I think, is the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
World on
Correct,
Fire, Children of the Empire. We're losing you when I put that up, so I'm going to take that off.
Oh, yeah, I blocked my face. I noticed that.
Now you see her? No, you don't. That's a pretty, let me just let people see that cover. That's really pretty. Children of the Empire. So when did you start writing, and what encouraged you to write this particular book?
So I started writing probably early on in my teens, more or less just to cope with depression and anxiety, and just a way to have a healthy outlet. And then in college, I wrote like my first book, one of those books that you write but never sees the light of day. And that's one of those books. It's like, the first book you ever write, kind of is like your personal, treasure. And so I wrote the first book, and that was kind of it for a little bit. I became a medical assistant. That's what I went to college for. So I started working and kind of focusing on my medical career, and writing kind of took a back seat. So about 5-6 years ago, actually maybe even longer now, goodness gracious, probably more like 7 years ago now, I decided I had an idea for a new book, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to pursue my dream to be a writer. This is what I've always wanted to do. I've always just been told that I had a way with words, that I was very good at it. All my English professors, always encouraged me to go into writing or to, my papers. It was really funny. The one and only time I decided that I was going to, kind of half do my English paper in high school, the one time I was like, I don't really feel like doing this assignment. I'm just going to half do it. So I did. And I got called up by my English teacher, and she was like, my real name is Birdy, by the way. And she goes, Brittany, I know you can do better than this. I don't know what you gave me, but we know you can do better. And I'm going to need you to rewrite the paper that I know is worthy of an A. And I was like, dang it. Kind of like slinking out of the classroom, like crap. So I just decided that I was going to write. And that's when I wrote the Shattered series, which you can find on the Read Addict app. And then life kind of took a drastic turn, and I lost my first husband, decided I was going to move to Georgia to kind of get a fresh start on things. And lo and behold, I met my second husband, who I now have 2 adorable dragon twins with. And they actually are the reason I started or had the inspiration for Children of the Empire. As they got older, we started rewatching all of the Disney movies. And I just love, I was a Disney kid. I grew up in the early 90s. Let's face it. I was surrounded. Disney was plummeted in my face, probably pretty early on. So as I was rewatching, and I've always loved fairy tales. I've always been fascinated, just all the Grimms, all the different things that you've always seen over the years, all the retellings. It just always fascinates me. So like Once Upon a Time, I don't know if you guys ever watched that show, but it's probably one of my favorite shows of all time. And I just absolutely love all the retellings they did throughout the show. So as I was rewatching all of the movies with my girls, I was like, I've always wanted to do a fairy tale retelling, and I've never come up with it. And so I just was like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. We're going to put all it aside and do it. So I ended up combining my retelling with an old idea that I had, which is why I always tell authors to write your ideas down and keep them somewhere, because you never know when it might come back in handy. And I ended up combining it with an old idea that I could never develop into anything, and ended up developing it into Children of the Empire. And it's 5 different fairy tale retellings. It's Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, Rapunzel, Sleeping Beauty, and Cinderella. And it's the 5 stories all woven together in one epic fantasy world. It's a little bit, so my thing is fairy tales aren't just for kids. So it's obviously more of an adult version. There's a little bit more romance. There's a little bit more action, a little bit more adventure. And because of my own personal experiences with mental health, and just, being a girl and having general body image issues and all of that, things that young girls struggle with, I put all of that into my books. I always feature something from my personal life, some type of struggle. And so in this, you will see Snow White kind of struggle with her confidence, struggle with becoming Snow White, struggle with the trauma that has plagued her for so long. Because if you think about the basis behind most fairy tales, it's very tragic, it's very traumatic, it's very serious and damaging to the person. And we're talking about the original fairy tales, not the pretty Disney version that, they've painted for you. So, it was kind of a way to add a more of adult, darker version spin, and also combined different fairy tales all together in one world, because why can't all of our favorite princesses act together, you know, just like they did in Once Upon a Time. So that's where that came in. And so I really developed the story, and I had so much fun writing it. I've actually just started, book 2 was just put out, and I'm started book 3. So
let me put up book 2 here, and then I need to we need to talk to Kaylin again for a second. There's a problem with her email. Yeah, I'll tell you in a minute.
This one's Reflected Mirrors.
This is Reflected Mirrors, and this is the second book, right?
Yes,
Let me just check with Kaylin real quick.
Absolutely.
So here, Chanel said her email came back as unknown address. So let's make sure.
Oh, I'll give you another email address.
Well, let me see which one.
Got to switch over.
Oh, yeah, I've got to switch over to you. Wait just a second, Birdy. Hold on.
You're okay.
LYOSHIDA21@gmail.com. That's right.
That should work.
Was that an LY that you put in there? LYOSHIDA21@gmail.com. Is that what?
L.
Did you get an L in there, Chanel?
L.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Try that again, Chanel, and see if that was the problem. If not, then come back to us, and we won't go off the air until we get it straightened out.
So it doesn't take you 2 hours. And
Robert was just to say, well, she has another email we can give out. Robert was just about to say, I was about to mention Once Upon a Time, which also is one of my favorites. Yeah, the princesses should be all together and team up against the oppressive male patriarch.
Yeah, I love it.
There you go.
There you go. I will say that Snow, actually most of the princes are, you know, they have their own dark past. They have their own curses and things that they deal with. But ultimately, Snow White, who is the prominent feature of the book, however, there are, you know, the other tales woven in. And he is definitely, you know, he does support her. He is powerful, but he is all about backing her and all about, you know, him saving her was because he loved her, you know, because he couldn't live without her. Because I'm sorry, but the idea of a prince finding Snow White in the woods was a little something I couldn't quite work with. He needs to know her if he's gonna save her. Like it was like one of those.
That's funny.
So I had decided to make him, you know, a little bit better. So, because I will say that definitely some of the things that get portrayed for princes, at least in some of the fairy tales, are kind of, I don't know. I prefer Dark Knight or Dark Prince over Prince Charming. So, you know, that's kind of how I wrote my characters, to be honest. So,
why don't we go ahead and get your book giveaway out there so people will have some time to do that. And do you want to talk about it?
Oh, the first 2 people to email birdyrivers15@gmail.com will win a signed copy, U.S. only of choice. So the first 2 people will actually get a paperback. And sorry, guys, in Australia.
Yes,
you won't be able
sorry.
But the first 2 people to email birdyrivers15@gmail.com will win a signed copy. That's of either one of the books, whichever one they want.
Yes, correct.
So let me put those up again so that you can see what your choices are. Children of the Empire, World on Fire. That's the first one. And you know, you might want that one since it's the first one. Are they standalone though, Birdy? And the second one is Children of the Empire, Reflected Mirrors. Are they standalone, or do you?
I would say you want to read book 1 before you read book 2. Yeah, they are definitely interwoven.
Okay. Robert says that's okay. LOL, that's okay. You can always buy it. It's on Amazon.
It's true. It is on Amazon.
Okay, so are you working on anything else, Birdy?
I am. So I am working on the 3rd book of Children of the Empire, which is titled Edge of Oblivion. And then I am working on a retelling of The Little Mermaid, because that's one of my other favorite fairy tales that I grew up loving. So I am doing more of instead of a fantasy approach, I'm doing more of a paranormal approach to this one. So this is not necessarily so much set in a fantasy world. It's kind of more set in like a today's society. I always love the idea of kind of vaguely writing world, or when I'm writing a world that's kind of in a modern day and age. I like leaving it kind of loosely interpretation, because I love the idea of parallel worlds. Why can't there be a world of just werewolves or just vampires or just supernaturals? I love the idea that there's different things to do. So this one is kind of set in more modern times. It's more paranormal. It's got mermaids and sirens. I bought in a little Roman mythology with Neptune, because I am half Italian, and I figured I should pay some respects to my Italian heritage, especially because my nonna was from Rome. So definitely feel like I should pay some respects to my Roman heritage. So we bought in the Roman god Neptune, and I'm almost done that, and that will be out in the beginning of next year.
So
very good.
Exactly. He's got a Kindle here, so he can buy most books on Amazon. So that's great.
Yeah.
Good.
Pick up Birdy's books.
And
KAYLIN's books.
And Chanel said, I like my prince to be more of a John Wayne than a funny man, like one of the Wayne brothers. I love to laugh, but need more than laughter. So.
That makes sense.
Exactly. And then
need more than a pretty face.
Exactly. And then I have next summer I will be releasing the first series of a paranormal duet. And I will also be releasing a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. So I have a couple of different projects that I'm working on right now.
So Robert liked that idea. He said, yes, that's a great idea. A little bit like Laurel K. Hamilton with other creatures existing in the world.
Exactly. Love the idea of different worlds and different things that can exist within a world.
String theory says that it's possible.
It's the beauty of being a writer, right? It's the world is what we create it. So
yes.
It's the beauty of it, right? That's the fun of being an author.
That's right. I love science fiction, but I've never wanted to write science fiction. It was like
here. I'd much rather like watch or read science fiction as much as I enjoy the genre. But when it comes to fantasy and paranormal and supernatural, I absolutely just love writing in those genres. It's just there's a lot of fun to it for me personally. And even like exploring mythologies, like I just absolutely love researching I had fun researching the original fairy tales and all and different versions of fairy tales in different parts of the world, even, different variations. And, as I was doing my Little Mermaid retelling, I was researching mermaids and sirens and the, Roman mythology. And it's all so fascinating. And there's so much you can do with it to make it your own. And, that is just it's just a fun, vast genre to work with.
So many of the fairy tales were political, actually. Yeah. Because
they couldn't write lessons, like to stay away from danger, or like, don't talk to strangers, that which I believe is the whole concept behind the big bad wolf, and not trusting and not talking to strangers. And so I am actually interested to, I'm having fun exploring a little bit of the Red Riding Hood retelling, because it's a very interesting retelling. And of course, werewolves have to be involved, because where would the fun be in that?
Which is another TV series, Grimm. Did you watch Grimm? I loved that.
Yes, I did watch Grimm.
Yes.
I love
Grimm.
That was really good.
Speaking of werewolves, my favorite.
Mine too. I think my favorites are werewolves, mermaids, and fairies. There's something about those three that just fascinate me. Don't get me wrong, I have other supernatural beings that I like, but those three I just absolutely love.
We had a lot of fun at our house because my son-in-law worked as a location director for Grimm. And they actually used our house for one of their shows. Really? And so we got to watch all the makeup go on, and It's
That's so cool.
it's pretty extreme when you look at it, when you watch all that application going on.
Oh,
So
it is. Yeah.
yeah.
Where I live in Georgia, we live near the major studios, the Pinewood Studios, that does all of like the Marvel movies and a lot of like Chris Pratt's movies, and The Rock like flew in a couple months ago. It's like literally 20 minutes. It's a huge, huge studio. And then of course, Sonoya is where they filmed The Walking Dead. So like it's kind of funny amongst the locals. We know when filming is happening because there'll be an orange coon with a yellow sign with random black letters that's assigned to the project, so that the cast and crew are the only ones who know what the project is. And because so many people, they can't risk fans, fans get a little too much sometimes, and so they have to like decode the projects. And so it's really funny. You'll see like as you're driving around, you'll see like the cone with the sign, and we're like, oh, they're filming something, so we know what's going on as locals. But it's really cool. We have a lot of studios near us, and so there's always a lot of filming. They are always it's kind of, sometimes it's a little inconvenient because they do shut down roads and stuff sometimes here and there, depending on what they're working on. But it is kind of cool. I've gotten to meet Norman Reedus and a couple other celebrities that, putz around the towns and just, enjoy the fans and sign autographs, take pictures. So it is kind of a cool area to live in, with kind of being mini Hollywood with everything that happens around here.
Robert White said fans would want to become part of the show. That's true.
That's true.
Yeah, they did in the beginning, actually. In the beginning of Walking Dead, when they first started filming, before it got big, they actually would let fans become, like, they would let them come in and they would do the zombie makeup and let them just be extras. But unfortunately, once the show got really popular, it kind of...
Small dog alert.
Puppy dogs. 2 puppies.
Our dog's head popped up like, what?
What's going on? I would love to meet Jon Favreau, and he, of course, is super involved in Marvel. I just think he's brilliant.
Yeah, they filmed a lot of the Marvel stuff down here. All of the Avengers movies. The studio is huge. They filmed so much down here. I mean, you could drive by it, and they're always doing something. There's always people in and out. They even built a whole neighborhood across from the studio for like celebrities, producers, directors, anybody on the crew and cast to just live in, because they're in and out so much. They just film so much there.
Chanel says she's always thought that Sherlock Holmes would be an amazing hero for kids with autism.
Yeah.
It's, some people believe that Sherlock was written to be on the spectrum, and actually there's a TV show that George, he says he's late, but here. Let me see, where is that? Late, but
better
here.
late than never.
Oh, wonderful.
So George, you didn't hear, but Birdy was just saying that she's right. Let me show you the books that she's written here really quick. This is the second one, Children of the Empire's Reflected Mirrors, and this is the first one, Children of the Empire. And so she loves fairy tales, and she loves mermaids and sirens.
Yeah.
Yes.
And George has...
My mom could never get me out of the water. And it's really funny. My one daughter is so much like me in that sense, that she just loves the water. We call her the Little Mermaid. And ironically, The Little Mermaid is her favorite movie. I think she just likes it because it's all basically half underwater, and she just loves the idea of seeing and being and hearing water. And my other daughter, her twin sister, is very into books, and her favorite movie is Beauty and the Beast. And so both my daughters ended up loving one of each of my 2 favorite movies growing up. So I thought that was really awesome that I kind of worked out in my favor.
Well, George has just written a book called Siren Song, and the second book is coming out soon, but Siren Song is going into production in January. It's going to be a film, but Lionsgate is producing it.
Wow.
Oh, wonderful.
Awesome. So I would hope for both of you that some of your books would become.
That would be awesome, especially given the area that I live in. That would be really awesome. I'm actually, and I have my books in a local bookstore. So, fingers crossed, maybe one of those directors or producers one day will pick
walk
it up.
in.
There you go. There you go.
So you never know.
Send them a book.
Right? I mean, you never know. And
Definitely.
actually, I'm happy to announce that Children of the Empire World on Fire won second place in the Pencraft Awards. So
Awesome.
I'm very happy about that. I'm so excited to win an award. That made me so happy to receive that news. So
Yeah, no kidding.
Robert
Congratulations.
said we can hope. That's right, Robert.
right?
Yeah. It's every author's hope, I think.
Yeah. So do you
I
guys have
think
any
so.
questions or comments for each other?
Oh, so how long have you been writing, Birdy?
Pretty long time. I mean, high school is the most is when I started, but I didn't really start story writing until college. You know, in high school, it was just mostly journaling and, you know, writing random things down or, you know, I actually, I was really into music. I'm a singer. So, at one point I was actually trying to write lyrics and, kind of take, my singing and everything into a musical direction with my writing, and combine the two. But, I just never quite took it in the direction that I want it to. But who knows? One day you never know.
Yes, true. True. Do you have any questions for me?
So I think it's awesome that you've traveled all around the world and that you put that experience into your books because that is awesome. Like that is just I don't know why, but that blows my mind. I'm like, that's so cool. Like that's like the dream to live as a writer, to just be able to travel and write books about where you go. That's amazing.
Thank you so much, Birdy.
Yeah.
It's really helpful because I take notes when I travel. I bring a journal, and so I write down smells and sounds.
That's amazing.
And sometimes people say really interesting things, so I make a little note about some comment they made, or you know,
It's a good idea.
and
it is a very good idea.
It's really fun because sometimes they find their way into my books, and
well,
so
you know, everything's research for us as authors. I feel like, you know, everything can be woven into a story or an idea or anything really, you know. I mean, people pull inspiration from everywhere or anywhere they can, and so that's a really, you know, great way to pull inspiration is traveling.
So I have an interesting question for you, Birdy.
Sure.
So do you plot your books? How do you write your books?
That's a good question. And honestly, it depends on the story. Some stories are structured out with outlines, and other stories I just kind of write it and don't really feel the need. Although I will say this, usually halfway through the story, usually about halfway through, I'll end up plotting out the end, like the middle to end, where I'll actually like write it out and outline it no matter what. Like that's just a habit for me. I have no idea why. But most of the time when I have an idea, I will sit down and just start writing it and then see if I can work at it, and if it slowly develops into something, then I'll usually pull out my pen and paper and outline and write ideas down. But I have notebooks all over this house, all over. Notebooks, pens everywhere. I have a special pens that no one's allowed to touch but me. So my poor husband's just like, you know,
good luck keeping them away from the twins.
Right?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
When they have gotten a hold of a few of my notebooks.
I bet they have.
Like, no, I panic. I'm like, wait, because you know they'll just rip the paper out with, you know, not thinking or knowing anything. And I'm like, no. So I've learned my lesson to keep my notebooks out of toddler reach.
Yes. So Birdy, so I'm a pantster. So I don't know if you know what that means.
We're a pantster.
I've heard of the term, yeah.
Okay, so I'm finding out that Pinterest is a wonderful resource for me. Yeah. So I plot all my books. I have the next 4 books plotted out on Pinterest. So I'm a very visual person. So I used to do journals where I would take the birthday and the quirks and all the habits of each of my characters and put them on a page. Yeah. But I don't do that anymore. It just seems like a tremendous amount of work, and it's all in my head. And so so now I do it all on Pinterest, and there's one of my dogs.
Oh,
Yep, there.
doggies.
Yes.
I'm like, I keep telling
Yeah.
him, we need a dog. We need a dog. He's like,
Oh yeah,
like,
I
when they
have
were dogs and
two.
twins, I'm like,
Yeah. So, but yeah, it works for me. Pinterest, I've encouraged other authors to do it.
I'll check it.
It's really helpful because I'm such a visual person that I need to know my characters in advance. And so I actually take pictures and search the web and plot everything on there. So it might be helpful. It's just a
that's
resource.
It's interesting that you said that, because Robert said, I generally take the camera with me all over the place to capture the scenes that can then be added onto in story form. So that's for a very visual person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I see something, like if I'm out and about and I see something that strikes an inspiration, I'll take a picture of it. Or especially, you know, when you're out in nature, especially if you're trying to do something like, you know, well, I guess nature applies to a lot of different genres, truly, if you think about it. But it is always good. I mean, I always have a pen and a notebook. I always have my phone ready. I have like my notes section in my phone is probably filled with a whole bunch of things that I have to go back and be like, oh yeah, that idea. Camera roll filled with screenshots of things. Like if I see an outfit and I'm like, oh, I could see that on a character. Let me screen, you know, I have so much stuff like that around, pictures, screenshots, things that I'm like, oh, that's a good idea, you know. Or I could see a character doing this or wearing this, or inspiration. I mean, inspiration comes from everywhere, you know.
Oh, I have another question for you, Birdy.
Sure.
Do you do book trailers?
I haven't gotten into. I do want to do a book trailer. I just have not gotten into. You know, haven't gotten a chance to get around it. I feel like, you know, so when I wrote Shattered, you know, I took a little bit of a break, and you know, I kind of went to Georgia, restarted. You know, met my husband, we started our family. And so when I got back into writing, which was basically really this year, truly is when, you know, my published book of Children of the Empire back in May. And when I came back into the industry, I was like, oh my goodness, so much has changed. I was just like, so I ended up having to hire a PA because I was like, I'm drowning here in everything that is, because so much had changed and there was so many things, like book trailers were a new thing, audiobooks were huge, you know, so it was just a lot of different things that I felt like I had to relearn, re-emerging myself into the industry, because so much had changed in the handful of years that I had, you know, taken my hiatus. So it was a little overwhelming, but I hired a PA and she is phenomenal with helping me organize things. And so that is on our list.
Have you done any audiobooks?
If Children of the Empire, World on Fire is in production actually for audiobook. I'm hoping to have the finished, I'm hoping to have it done, or at least have it sent to me by the end of this month. And so hopefully by the end of the year, around Christmas, hopefully we can get it out on Audible, but it is in production. So
good. And KAYLIN, I think yours are all available.
All audio. They're all audio, and they're ebook, paperback, everything. So but I love audio. It's so fun because I actually worked with some wonderful actors, and it was interesting doing Soul Seeker because I had to have a character that does the devil, and so and he's English. He's a wonderful actor in London.
Who knew?
And he does an incredible New York Bronx accents, and he's so he was able to do a cop, and it was just so much fun to hear it actually read. With the characters playing out, you know, so it becomes really more real to me.
It does.
So that was fun.
We're kind of running toward the end here.
I did need to tell you, Birdy, George wants us to give you his email address.
Okay.
So please don't leave after the show. Wait
Right.
so
And
that
hang
we
on,
can
and
give
we'll,
it to you.
we'll make sure.
Because I told him that we would.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
no worries.
So, Kaylin, I'm going to put you
Yes.
on the spot.
Yes.
2 sentences, just 2 sentences. That's all you get.
Oh,
Words.
you can have
Words.
more.
No, she can't.
Yes. You can.
Words of advice to somebody who runs into the wall and
Yeah.
can't get going.
Okay. I've had this happen in the past.
That's 1 sentence.
Stop it.
Okay. Okay.
No, he's kidding.
Oh no. Go out and walk. Get inspired, whether you go into a garden or down a city street. But find yourself a place to escape to, and I think it will clarify. Everything will shake itself out, and you'll find yourself no longer blocked.
Okay, cool. Birdy, same question.
Well, for me, my big thing is music, second to writing and reading. So anytime that I'm struggling, particularly with a story or anything, I will turn to music that I feel is an inspiration to that story. Actually, I usually have playlists to my books, to be perfectly honest. Like, I will have a specific playlist that I will listen to on repeat as many times as needed until that book is finished, because that is just what brings me inspiration. I feel like it opens up a new way of looking at the story. But I also like Kaylin's advice of going out in nature, even, or wherever you can get some fresh air and walk around, and maybe pop in some earbuds and listen to some music in the process.
There you go. Maybe a little meditation.
Yeah, that works.
I like meditation. And Caleb Pirtle always says, if you're blocked, it's usually because you're asking your characters to do something that they wouldn't do.
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
And I know our characters have a life of their own. They won't do.
Oh, they always do, don't they?
They won't do what we want them to do sometimes. So we have to figure something else out.
So we would really thank you guys so much for giving us your time today.
Thank you for having us.
Your work. They're both very both groups of books are fantastic. Makes me want to read them.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe
I hope so.
Yeah.
And if you read them, please leave a review.
Right.
And
Yes.
we've got another comment here. Paul says, "Thanks, everyone. Another awesomely interesting show." It was, Paul.
Thanks,
it was
Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Very
Thank
interesting.
you.
We had a good time.
So we're going to move you guys over.
This way.
There we go.
Oh, that way.
Yay.
And we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Do you have any words of wisdom?
I don't, except to.
You usually do.
I know. I've been talked out lately. I don't know what my problem is.
Okay.
Here's another comment. It's probably like, I can't believe she doesn't have anything to say.
There
Actually, Joe Conjal said, enjoyed what I caught. I can't wait to see the whole thing.
you go.
Joe,
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a very good show, Joe. And Chanel says, I want to be a fly in KAYLIN McFARREN house.
No, they don't. They have a big fly swatter. You don't want to do that.
I'd like to go on some trips with her.
There you go.
Right? Me too.
Well, before you do that, let's talk
Okay.
about next week.
Okay.
Next week is we're going to be traveling, so we have a pre-recorded live show, which never has made sense to me. Pre-recorded live, how could that be? Well, we did pre-record it. We were live. It is a new show. It's episode 32. Lisa Sherwood Fabre. She writes about Sherlock Holmes. What else did she write? Do you remember? We taped it a while back. So do you remember what else she writes?
But she writes all Sherlock Holmes. But Robert's buying Birdy's book on Kindle right now. So yay.
Oh, cool.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Robert. I appreciate
Robert.
that.
And I did want to say one more thing. I wanted to say that I forget what I was going to say now. I can't remember. Crazy. What was I going to say? Oh, I know, it was to Chanel. I wanted to say, Chanel, that next week the author is a Sherlock Holmes author, and I kept wanting to ask her that whether or not that she thought that he was on the autism scale. So your question was interesting.
Right.
Because I've always thought that he might have been on the spectrum.
So that'll be November 10th. That's next Wednesday. And then after that, on the 17th, Orlando Sanchez, that'll be live.
Yeah.
And on the 24th, we have Adam Gaffin again, which is pre-recorded because that's the day before Thanksgiving. So anyway, that is what we've got going on.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in.
Being in the audience and everything.
So
thank you.
That's all, folks.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.